It's Tuesday, Parshas Bamidbar Chuf Ha'iyah Tovshim Pai Vuv. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm here with the news of the last 24 hours on Edge, May 12th, 2026.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Hayoim Arbuim Yoim Shahaim Chamishu Shuviyos V'Chamishu Yomim Luoime, and it's Hoyt Shabiyasot. How did I know the Sphira? Because I typed in what's the Sphira Soim of today in the Click 613 bot. It's a WhatsApp bot. It's free for all. Gives you Zmanim, gives you Zman Tfilis in all but the Menushim in the entire world, almost. It's there, getting there. And restaurants, when it's open, when it's not open. Relevant information that a Yid needs to know wherever you are in the world. Click 613 is the place to go. You can register your business for free. There's also premium options if you want to get advertised on it. But Click 613 is an amazing, it's an AI bot, but it knows everything about whatever you need in terms of finding places, finding relevant kosher restaurants or, tfilis, wherever you are. Zmanim, the entire thing. All right, that's how I knew the sphere of today. Venezuela might become the 51st U.S. state, according to Trump. Though the country is already pushing back on the idea. What a funny thing. The U.S. made, I guess Canada's off for now. U.S. made 25 intelligence gathering flights over Cuba since February, and Trump supports the arrest of former President Barack Obama. And there is now a special paint that can help with heating, cooling, and collect water from the air. All that and way more here on Edge, but first, ring and go. Why go to Amazon when you can ring and go? You need a camera, you need a device, you need to get a full plan of the device, you need to get every single electronic item out there, speakers, USB devices, SD cards, whatever you need electronic devices, ring and go. They have amazing prices, by the way, competitive prices. Why bother with Amazon? You could just go to ring and go. When you laugh at me, Amazon, of course Amazon's great, yes, but ring and go is even better because they offer a 10% discount if you mention on Edge. Additionally, take advantage of free delivery within the tri-state area. Usually you have to pay Prime and all that, right? Free delivery with a one-day delivery option. Try them out. Try them, okay? It's on me. 347-480-7455. Blame me if something goes wrong, okay? Blame me. Again, 347-480-7455. Tell your friends, tell everyone, tell your family. ringandgo.us. Check out what they have. All right. I want to mention something very important. Ura is making a raffle at the end of this week, Be'ezer Shemesburach. A big raffle, a big auction. You already know the prizes that they have, okay? I don't have to tell you this. 732-719-2060. Call them, or you can go onto auraauction.org and just, buy yourself prizes. $5, you can win over $700,000. So many different prizes. You know already, Ura. I don't have to tell you more about them. You can listen to my shmiz that I had with Matcha Aaron. What an amazing person he is, Matcha Aaron. What an amazing shmiz I had with him, TorahMates.org. All right. And today is also the yahrzeit of Reb Raful Riss. I need to tell you this because today is the last day. It's the yahrzeit, and you can still send in your name, your kvitlich, if you need to. He's an amazing person. If you know someone who needs a shidduch, struggling with it, finding a shidduch, he is known to mamish pol yeshiyas. People go to Amuka. You don't have to go to Amuka. Just call plus 417-869-79879. He is known to be a Baal Moifas Baal Yeshiyas from 212 years ago. You can go on to email him as well at 6979879@gmail.com. Again, the email address is 6979879@gmail.com. Send in your information there, and also send in a small naduva to help, obviously, with the expenses of what's it called, of the. President Trump is truly thinking about making Venezuela the 51st state of the United States of America. He shared the idea directly with Fox News reporter John Roberts this morning. Trump stated, "John, I just want to tell you, I'm very serious about this. I'm serious about beginning a process to make Venezuela the 51st state. However, that proposal is already facing strict pushback." Following the president's remarks, Venezuela's acting president officially rejected the offer for the nation to become the U.S. state. Still, White House spokesperson Anna Kelly supported the announcement and said this is a president who is famous for never accepting the status quo. In fact, Trump's Justice Department is already handling a Venezuelan issue. They are charging the dangerous Venezuelan gang with trafficking, firearms trafficking, drugs, and having illegal items. The criminal group is known as Tendiaragua. Now, 25 of its members are facing federal charges in 6 different states. American military spy flights have been increasing a lot off the coast of Cuba since February. In fact, Flight Radar 24, the data shows that the U.S. has carried out at least 25 intelligence gathering flights off Cuba since early February. President Trump and his government are actively increasing pressure on the Cuban government by placing new financial and trade penalties on the island, sanctions. Trump recently suggested that a United States aircraft carrier could stop right off the Cuban coast to force a surrender. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called Cuba's government weak, failed communists and warned that the U.S. will not let Cuba become a major danger to American safety. Trump reshared a social media post calling the arrest of former President Barack Obama. The post called Obama a traitor, but Trump did not add any comments when he shared it. In addition to this, he also shared another post that accuses Obama of treason and several other crimes. Trump recently increased his criticism of Obama and the Democratic Party, especially over the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Last week, he criticized past presidents for giving billions of dollars to Iran. In other political remarks, Trump also warned that he believes he will be impeached if Republicans lose the upcoming midterm elections. Getting heated. President Donald J. Trump says that the shaky pause in fighting between the United States and Iran is barely surviving and has only 1% of chance of lasting. Like I said, he said this on live support. Trump said no to a 14-point peace offer from Tehran, calling the offer trash and garbage, dumb. And he said it failed because Iran didn't agree to truly give up their nuclear weapon plans, which is his main priority. However, according to Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, Esmail Baghaei, Iran's offer was reasonable, and it's America that has unfair demands. He added, quote, "We did not demand any concessions from the U.S., but rather called for an end to the war and a halt to maritime piracy against Iranian ships. Unfortunately, the American side still insists on positions largely built and shaped by the Zionist regime and continues to hold its one-sided stance and unreasonable demands." So what's in their proposal? We spoke about it yesterday. We'll repeat it again quickly. Well, Iran wants the blockade to end. Free oil export, no punishments, sanctions, the return of frozen money, a ceasefire in Lebanon, and continued control of the Strait of Hormuz, which is the most used waterway for oil deliveries. On the nuclear issue, Iran offered to weaken some of its enriched uranium to send the rest of it to another country. But if the talks fail, all this uranium should be returned. Iran also wants all the talks to go through Pakistan and says nuclear negotiations will only start after the war ends. However, this does not match the recommendation by Iran's Atomic Energy Organization. Energy Chief Mohammad Islami, his name is, told a Parliament security meeting that nuclear technology will not be included in any talks. He also said Iran will not discuss stopping uranium enrichment. The US shouldn't be bothered by the delay. Well, that's according to the National Economic Council NEC Director Kevin Hassett. He said there is no rush on Iran negotiations because Tehran's economy is on the brink of collapse. This is supported by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who explained the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent that he explained that the Treasury will keep cutting Iran off from its financial sources. The State Department already put penalties on an oil operation run by the IRGC, and the Treasury Department is ordering banks to flag Iranian money laundering operations in Turkey. Over in London, the British government froze the money and property of 12 people working secretly for Iran. If this continues, Iran will have no more money for its weapons, terrorists, proxies, and nuclear plans. It looks like Operation Economic Fury, which is a strategy to choke Iran's economy, will continue alongside military operations to stop it from getting more resources. Did I mention, by the way, that Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, had a baby recently? I forgot to mention it, maybe. Didn't say Mazel Tov. Anyway, a lot of other White House officials like Marco Rubio have recently taken place, and the president himself in the press conference room. All this is happening while the war continues in the Strait of Hormuz. Last week, Iran targeted 3 U.S. ships. The U.S. hit back by bombing Iranian fast ships, according to the satellite images. The most recent encounter was the U.S. F/A-18 Super Hornet airplane that hit 2 tankers, which we reported yesterday. The United States military is now actively moving major weapons into place. The military headquarters confirmed that the USS Alaska, a submarine carrying powerful long-range nuclear missiles, sailed through the Strait of Gibraltar, which is next UK. This puts it within easy range to hit Iran if needed. Satellite pictures taken last week also show up to 60 fast boats belonging to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, that are stationed directly at the strait. Now Iranian officials are saying basically staying defiant. The speaker of Iranian of Iran's parliament, Mohammad Ghalibaf. Mohammad Ghalibaf gave a strong warning. He said their army is ready to pull a major surprise on America. Ali Akbar Velayati, an advisor to Iran's supreme leader, the current Mushtaba, also gave a direct warning to Trump. He claimed Iran already beat the United States on the battlefield. Officials expect Trump will wait to give any final military orders until he returns from a trip to China later this week. Oil prices jumped almost 5% in US after Trump said he did not like Iran's answer to the US peace proposal. Now investors are worried that the conflict between the United States and Iran could continue and affect oil supplies through the Strait of Hormuz. But there is good news. Trump also said he wants to temporarily stop the federal gas line tax to help lower gas prices. The federal gas tax adds about 18 cents per gallon of gasoline. A mayor in California quit her job after she admitted she was a spy working for the Chinese government. 58-year-old Aileen Wang stepped down as the mayor of Arcadia. The U.S. Justice Department officially charged her. She was acting as an illegal spy for the communist China. Prosecutors say Chinese officials told her exactly what to do while she was in office. She spread messages in the U.S. that supported the Chinese government, obviously. Wang agreed to plead guilty and faces a maximum sentence of 10 years in federal prison. A huge security effort is happening right now as President Donald J. Trump gets ready for a major government trip to China from May 13th to 15th. The Secret Service, State Department, and the White House are coordinating protection for the trip to Beijing. This is driven by active threats from foreign terrorists and recent assassination attempts. Trump is bringing 17 top company executives with him, including Elon Musk and Apple CEO Tim Cook, who is stepping down soon, by the way, and the highly awaited meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping will focus hard on Taiwan, worldwide shipping, and taxes on imports. Tariffs, right? Trump wrote on Truth Social, "I am very much looking forward to my trip to China, an amazing country, with a leader, President Xi, respected by all. Great things will happen for both countries." Elon Musk's massive lawsuit against OpenAI, speaking of which, right, and the CEO Sam Altman just hit a new milestone. Musk is suing, claiming the company broke its original promise to be a non-profit organization. Altman's team tried to get the whole case thrown out of court, arguing the contracts weren't legally binding. Now, but a judge ruled against OpenAI, saying that, well, just days ago, saying that the case has enough proof or evidence to go to trial. This means all those private text messages, emails, and internal discussions that Musk had collected about the company's shift from charitable work to making billions of dollars are right now going to be key evidence in a major court battle. A candidate running for the United States Congress in Florida stated that his main goal is to destroy Israel. He actually had an interview with Piers Morgan. Dan Bilzerian is running as a Republican for Florida's 6th Congressional District. When speaking about the political causes he wants to fight for, he stated that wiping out Israel is the only battle worth fighting for. He added, "Just give me a rifle and send me down there to kill Israelis. I would sign up right now." And he's also a big Hitler sympathizer. He loves Hitler. Them together both. Senator John Fetterman, I would call him Fetter John Fetterman. He's the Fetter. The Fetter from Pennsylvania. John Fetterman from Pennsylvania is openly telling the Democratic Party that it must face the fact that it has a problem with hating Jews. Fetterman spoke out after Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice David Wecht announced that he's leaving the Democratic Party. The judge said he is walking away because of the rise of hatred towards Jews. Cole Allen, the man accused of shooting up the White House Correspondents' Dinner, has maintained his not guilty plea. His defense team is now trying to remove every single government prosecutor in Washington, D.C. from the case. A huge, unprecedented move that targets top lawyers like Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. And data shows that many Americans, including 1 in 3 Democrats, believe the dinner shooting and even the attempts to assassinate Donald J. Trump were completely staged or fake. Senator Fetterman has strongly criticized members of his own party over these results. Gewinnen de lottery. De chances zijn alsof we treffen naar parking in Boropark hier of Jamte. Gewinnen met Oeren. Doe ze schon alsof we treffen naar parking in Thames River van Greenham dienst. Ik lijst van is. Freek $5. Ja, sure. Nou, voor $5. Against you mortgage payments. Gedekt. 100.000 in cash. Laagt ze die in cash. A luxury vacation. Maar de maatse wandel goed met de prijzen voor tickets aan. Who cares? De toestig zijn we niet. Neem aan teil in de Oeren auction. $5 a prijs. Iber nacht wees die aan oosje. $5 kost nou jede prijs. Noem maar daar. Okay, so 732-719-2060. Call in. Is dat gewinnen? $5 kost nou jede prijs. Ja. If you didn't understand the ad because it was in Yiddish, then go to urauction.com. Just pay $5 and you'll understand everything. At the end of the week, you might be a big winner. Friday night at Denver International Airport, a Frontier Airlines flight 4345 hit and killed a person while the plane was taking up. What happened? Authorities confirmed that a person has climbed over the airport fence, ran onto the runway right before the plane hit them. One engine caught fire and the pilot quickly stopped the plane. Smoke entered the cabin and passengers escaped using emergency slides. 12 people had minor injuries and 5 were taken to hospitals. The person on the runway died, obviously, on the spot. Officials have confirmed the person was trespassing, but their identity and the reason for entering the runway are still unknown as the investigation continues. A motorcycle crash in Canada left a motorbike hanging from the traffic light after hitting a car. The accident happened near Surrey Delta area in British Columbia. The motorcycle flew into the air and became basically stuck on the traffic light pole. The rider was seriously injured but survived. The car driver was not hurt. Police, well, it hung over him obviously. Police are investigating the crash and believe speed may have caused the accident. Well, what not? I guess the traffic light was that angry at him and says, "I'm getting you." A shooter opened fire on a busy highway in Cambridge, Massachusetts, badly hurting 2 drivers. The shooting happened yesterday afternoon on Memorial Drive. It's so sad nowadays. Every second Tuesday there's a shooting. So sad in America. Anyway, police say the suspect, identified as Tyler Brown, had a long gun and fired up to 60 bullets at passing cars. An armed citizen and a state trooper exchanged gunfire with Brown, and they finally shot him and took him into jail. Brown has a known criminal history, by the way, in the state, obviously. A woman is threatening to kill President Donald J. Trump, posting messages online claiming she will target members of the Trump family one by one. In one video she said, "Last warning, Trump Barron will be executed for every day you played a scam. I will eliminate one of your family." Now, she also threatened Elon Musk and made alarming comments about the Pentagon. She operates multiple social media accounts, including one with more than 30,000 followers. What social media can do to people today. Israel's main airport has practically turned into an American military base right now. The huge number of U.S. military planes at Ben Gurion Airport is really messing up flights for regular people. The head of Israel's Civil Aviation Authority, Shmuel Zakai, brought the issue directly to Transportation Minister Miri Regev. Zakai told her that the American military planes are the exact reason civilian flights are struggling so much. A nasty fight about who will run the Mossad next, who will run the Mossad has led Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to officially scold the agency's director, who is leaving his job in June, right? Netanyahu recently chose Roman Goffman to take over as the next Mossad chief. The current director, David Barnea, sent a formal letter saying he was against that choice. He argued that Goffman broke army rules during the scandal back in 2022. The country's attorney general is also officially against that choice from Goffman. Netanyahu fought back, giving a very strict scolding to Barnea. He defended his choice and said the arguments against Goffman were just political nonsense. The Israeli army ordered the southern Lebanese town of Shameh to evacuate immediately. Warnings were also sent out in northern Israel. Families were there told they were told a long wave of attacks is underway across the western, central and upper Galil areas. Even with the heavy fighting, the rules for Israeli families on the north haven't changed yet. There were rules they had to apply, obey, in other words. On the battlefield, the Israeli Air Force tracked down and killed Hezbollah terror cells today. Terrorist has just fired on Israeli forces with a gun, was also eliminated. He was trying to escape with a truck-mounted missile launcher. And that was also caught on very high-quality footage, might I say. The IDF has now also recovered the body of Radwan Force Commander Ahmad Balut from Beirut rubble that they killed yesterday. 2 Hezbollah terrorists in southern Lebanon were also killed in an airstrike. He was trying to climb up there, also with a weapon, and they eliminated him. You see him climbing up, and he climbs over with his gun, and taken out. Israel also hit a weapons depot and additional Hezbollah infrastructure that were moved that where more terrorists have been killed, hitting back. Now, Hezbollah basically continues to target Israeli soldiers in southern Lebanon with rockets and explosives drones over the past several hours. Hezbollah is reportedly making threatening phone calls in Hebrew to residents of Kiryat Shmona, telling them to leave the city. In response, Israel's cybersecurity department officially alerted Israelis regarding these threat messages. Tensions continue to escalate on this front, as Hezbollah drones recently struck a home without the typical siren warning, leading to fears in Israel that many more such attacks are coming. In the recorded message, the callers warn residents to evacuate while they still can. The message says, "Hello, look to the city gates. We want to meet you. The city is ours. This is a warning. Evacuate the city while you can. Still decide for yourself. When we arrive, we will decide whether we leave you or be killed. Also know what we don't want to raise dogs." Since the ceasefire understandings began, the IDF has eliminated more than 350 Hezbollah terrorists and struck over 1,100 targets across southern Lebanon. The IDF is building a military factory to produce large numbers of FPV, first-person view suicide drones. According to Israeli Army Radio Galei Tzahal, Army Radio Galei Tzahal, I made a mistake with the name, the factory is expected to make thousands of drones each month for the next 2 months. Later, production could grow to tens of thousands of drones every single month. About 200 frum soldiers are expected to work at the factory. The Gaza Strip is receiving too much help. Apparently, the 600 aid trucks entering the strip each and every single day are more than what is chlal needed. This is according to IDF data shown to Israeli leaders. Some shipments may also include dual-use materials and banned goods. This is dangerous because Hamas could use them to rebuild its military tools or weapons. An Israeli Air Force officer who was charged in a major betting scandal is now saying that the entire Air Force is involved in gambling. This case centers around Polymarket, an online website where people place bets on real-world events. Prosecutors claim the officer was willing to sell secret information just to make money, which put military operations in immediate danger. In speaking of which, the US Senate finally closed one of the most obvious ethic loopholes remaining in Washington. Yesterday, they passed a unanimous vote banning senators and their top aides, even their assistants, from betting real money on politics, on Polymarket, or anywhere else, specifically on online prediction markets. The fact that it wasn't already illegal is the real story, but at least the Senate finally agreed that the trading on legislative knowledge is just a fancy name for insider trading. The Israeli Knesset passed a new law. It creates a special court that can give the death penalty to Islamic terrorists, Hamas, who committed the Simchas Torah massacre. The measure passed with a full vote of 93-0. Israel will create a special military court. This court is only designed to try the terrorists, captured after the October 7th Hamas massacre. The trials will be completely public, which means that every part of the court will be filmed and broadcasted. This new law promises that any terrorist found guilty will never be released as part of any future hostage exchange deals. In other words, all these prisoners will be eliminated. A proposed law is coming back to the Knesset. Once approved, it would set a 7-year jail sentence for anyone holding a non-Orthodox prayer service at the Kosher Hamarovi. This proposal gives the chief rabbis the final power over the holy site and legally calls non-Orthodox prayers there a major disrespect and a defilement. In addition, another proposed law regarding historical old items in Yiddish24 in the West Bank just passed the first round. Supporters of the law say it is necessary to protect the special history of the territory. Those against the proposal say that Israel is using it to officially make the area a permanent part of the country. And perhaps, slightly funnier note, the Knesset has finally addressed the infamous police water cannons. Now, from now on, police cannot use that notorious foul-smelling skunk water or moldy fish water. They must fill the cannons with clean water only. This new law also demands major accountability. Police must now record a video of every single time they use a water cannon and save their footage for 3 years. If you are hurt by a cannon during a protest, the police must hand over that video recording within 7 days, unless a court specifically delays the request. Now back to some of the diplomatic news around Iran problem. We'll go back to it. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam said that the ceasefire is the country's main priority. He repeated, that Lebanon's demands, including a schedule for Israel Defense Forces to leave the southern Lebanon areas, is also on the ballot, I would say. The release of Lebanese prisoners, also held by Israel, and the return of displaced civilians to their homes. Salam also asked the United States to make sure that it actually keeps its promises and acts on it. He has said that only the Lebanese government speaks for Lebanon in negotiations, but added that the talks are also affected by talks in Islamabad between Iran and the United States and Israel. Well, looks like Hezbollah doesn't care about that, and what kind of ceasefire is that? Anyway, Hakan Fidan, the foreign minister of Turkey, will travel to Qatar tomorrow for talks about the Iran war. According to Turkish diplomatic sources, the discussions will focus on how the conflict is affecting the Gulf region and the safety of the ships traveling through the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that they will talk with Iraq about the secret Israeli military base recently discovered in their country. Iran says the Zionist entity is the ones that attacked the Gulf countries in the region and not them. The base was found on May 8th on a dark lake bed near Al-Nukbai. I think I pronounced it right. Satellite images show that the airstrip runway is about 850 meters long. The discovery of this base came after Baghdad said that it found no foreign or unauthorized presence, personnel or equipment anywhere in the country in April and in early May. According to CBS News, Iran might not be the only one playing with Trump under his nose. Pakistan is playing with the US as well. On one hand, they are unofficially claiming the Nobel Peace Prize, while on the other hand, they are helping Iran. Pakistan and Afghanistan allowed Iran to move military and civilian aircrafts to their bases to protect them from possible US strikes. The report says one of the aircrafts moved to Pakistan, Noor Khan Air Force Base, which is an Iranian surveillance plane called the RC-130 Sabah. Anonymously, US officials say that the aircraft was moved after tensions began with the United States and Iran. The US Senator Lindsey Graham said if this reporting is accurate, it would require a complete re-evaluation of the role Pakistan is right now taking as a mediator between Iran, the United States, and Israel. Given some of the prior statements by Pakistani defense officials towards Israel, I would not be shocked if this was true, he says. However, Pakistan strongly denied the CBS News report. In an official statement, Pakistan said the report is misleading and exaggerated. It also says these kinds of reports could harm efforts to keep peace and stability in the region. Afghanistan has not yet released any response, obviously. The United Arab Emirates, the UAE, secretly bombed Iran's Lavan Island oil plant back in April. Now, that attack led to Iran fighting back right away with its own strikes. And, like I said earlier, Iran is moving military and spy aircrafts out of the country bases to Pakistan and Afghanistan out of fear of Americans. Israel is also helping UAE ambassador Israel is also helping the UAE ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, says that Israel sent Iron Dome batteries and soldiers crews to the UAE. In return, the UAE's Emirates Airlines continued flying to Israel even when others stopped flights. He explained that this shows the extraordinary relationship between the UAE and Israel. That's what Mike Huckabee said. Ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine has ended. What a joke. Started for a few hours and ended. Ukraine and Russia launched more than 200 drones overnight, causing damage in several areas. On the other hand, Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation also claimed that the Ukraine broke the ceasefire 23,802 times during the truce. Almost 200 Russian-connected ships, which are currently under penalty, have sailed right into UK waters. These ships make up a secret fleet of Russia that Russia uses to sneak oil around the world and get past worldwide sanctions. The UK government threatened to board these ships, but tracking data shows the vessels ignored the warning and crossed into the area anyway. Anti-Semitic attacks and harassment are continuing in London. A 34-year-old Jew hater yesterday admitted he was guilty of hate crimes and beating people after he violently attacked a group of Yidden women with a belt at a bus stop in Hackney. The Shomrim was also alerted immediately, and volunteers held the suspect down until police arrived to arrest him. In a separate incident, police arrested a woman for punching a Jewish schoolboy in the street while shouting insults. North Korea changed its constitution to say that the country must automatically launch a nuclear bomb response if the leader Kim Jong-un is killed by a foreign enemy. The new rule is meant to warn other countries against attacking North Korea's leadership. All right, as long as he's keeping it himself. South Korea released images showing damage to the cargo ship HMN Namu after the Iranian attack last week in the Strait of Hormuz. 2 strikes hit the back of the ship and caused serious damage to the engine room. South Korea warned that it will retaliate. As you know, South Korea is a U.S. ally. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announced that he has welcomed South Korea's Minister of National Defense to the Pentagon. The White House is hosting a special party for Jewish American Heritage Month, but it ends just moments before Shabbos. On Friday night this week, Trump called for a national Shabbos to honor the Jewish community, planning to gather in the Indian Treaty Room next to the White House with all the Jews. The timing on Friday afternoon is so close to when the sun sets that guests that have to leave have almost no time to travel back home and get home before Shabbos. So, multiple copies of the invitation have already been sent out. We don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to go. We have to ask Jake Turks to see what he says about this. A huge crowd of Jew haters carrying terror flags, protesters, Palestinian flags outside Jewish community came to harass Jews outside the building in the Jewish community building in Brooklyn. It happened outside the Young Israel Senior Services in Midwood, which was hosting an event to promote real estate in Israel and the West Bank. Masked people carried flags of Hezbollah. They fought with a crowd of Yidden who had come out to protest against them. The mob chanted, "Brick by brick, wall by wall, Zionism will fall." A large police force responded to the scene, and at least 3 people were officially arrested. From the Palestinian side, 11 swastikas were painted across 2 public parks in Queens, New York City. The hate graffiti was done in Nazi red paint and found in both Highland Park and Forest Park. This happened just 1 week after several shuls and Jewish centers in the area was similarly spray painted. A terrible tragedy happened tonight at a wedding in Bnei last night. And the Chusen's father, the grandfather, Hakol Bakol, suddenly passed away. He collapsed during the celebration at age 76 only. Rabbi Tzarf served as a rabbi of the Sephardic shul in the Ramat El Chuna neighborhood and as Rosh Hakol of Kol Shir Lamalis, which is in Kfar Saba. He gave a blessing under the chippah and went to Dav Marav, and his neshama left. He was taken to hospital, obviously, and anyway, that was sad news. Speaking of good news, Rabbi Liraz Zeira, a Chabad shliach who works with college students in Yerushalayim, celebrated the birth of his 6th son. Less than a year ago, Rabbi Zeira was badly hurt and lost both of his legs when a landmine exploded while he was serving in the military reserve duty in southern Syria. Following the Petira of Agun Hatzadik Reb David Michul Schmidel, a historic picture has appeared. Rabbi Schmidel was a long-time head of the Asra Kadisha, the organization dedicated to protecting Jewish grave sites. The photo shows him together with Hagun Rebbe Vadi Yosef, standing at the resting place of the Holy Rabbi Yaakov Abichatzira, Zechisi Genalaini in Damanhor in Egypt. The picture captures the 2 Rabbonim when they travel to step in and protect the holy gravesite. Scientists in Australia have made a special paint that can help cool homes and collect water from the air. The paint reflects most sunlight, which helps keep buildings cooler during very hot weather. Researchers said homes with the paint could become much cooler without using more electricity. The paint can also collect small amounts of water from moisture in the air, and scientists say this technology could help people in hot and dry areas that have problems with heat and water shortages, obviously. Before we close, we have more news to tell you, little bits and pieces of news that you might have missed. But first, let's talk about Protobite. Why you need Protobite when you need to design yourself a custom-made program for your business. 347-354-1237. Mention on Edge for a good deal. And YS Capital Group is always there for you when you need to borrow some money for an investment, a real estate investment, on 718-831-2168. Ask them about their no closing costs loan. Ask them about it. Arrive Express is your trusted, most reliable taxi service company. 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. The anti-Jewish internet star Tyler Oliveira, who tried to visit Israel, isn't going anywhere but home. As we reported yesterday, Minister Amichai, personally from Israel, personally ensured Oliveira was blocked and questioned right at the airport. And here is the best part: after his humiliation, he was immediately deported on an El Al flight together with lots of Yidden there. What a loser. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was warning the public that many messages against Israel spreading online are completely fake. He explained how these campaigns are designed to trick everyday Americans. Netanyahu says these posts often feature fake accounts claiming to be American citizens who have turned against Israel. When the accounts are tracked down, they frequently come from individuals in Pakistan, he says. New York is officially joining a federal school choice plan, which is great news for New Yorkers there, thanks to a decision by Governor Kathy Hochul. The state's enrollment means families immediately qualify for a $1,700 federal tax credit to help cover school costs, school tuition. This decision is an enormous decision, obviously, and marks a major political reversal. Traditionally, Democrats opposed this and kept any school choice measures completely frozen in New York for decades. For yeshivas and day school parents paying high tuition bills, this federal tax credit offers much-needed financial relief. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's political life is hanging by a thread. This follows a huge revolt by his own top officials. Up to 70 lawmakers from the Labour Party publicly said they no longer trust the Prime Minister after they lost badly in local elections. Starmer attempted a national reset speech on Monday yesterday, but the speech backfired completely. Immediately after a group of senior ministers marched into the number 10 Downing Street to demand a timeline for when he will quit. Top leader of the Labour Party, Angela Rayner, released a public statement harshly criticising Starmer's work. She demanded the party make way for Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham to take control. President Donald J. Trump, in other news, chose his new FEMA chief to run FEMA, a Navy SEAL, who served as a temporary director of the agency just last year, but Hamilton, his name is, was actually fired by Trump because he publicly opposed the plan to drastically cut FEMA's budget and merge into Homeland Security. Now he's back to lead the agency he fought to save. The U.S. Supreme Court delivered a major victory to Alabama Republicans today, lifting a lower court block and ensuring a new GOP drawn a congressional map, which secures a strong voting advantage, which will be used in the 2026 midterm elections. Good news for New York City property owners. Mayor Zohran Mamdani has dropped his highly controversial plan to raise property taxes. He proposed the hike specifically to close the city's massive $5.4 billion budget gap. However, the plan met immediate resistance from city officials and Albany lawmakers, forcing Mamdani to abandon the effort today. And that's our news roundup for today. And I will end it right over here. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.